Now 24. It says that we got to determine an equation of a line with no y-intercept. That means a line that does not touch the y-axis. Well, if a line is not going to hit the y-axis, then it can't slope at all. It can't go straight across. It's going to have to go straight up and down through -6 and 3, which is there. So it would be a line that looks like this. And the equation of a vertical line is, well, let's see, this point is -6, 3. This one is -6, 2, -6, 1, -6, 0, -6, -1. It's always -6 in the x. And so we write something that says the x is always -6. That's the equation of a vertical line. Now, if it said no x-intercept, then it would go this way, and the equation would be y is always 3. Because on this line, the y-coordinate is always 3. And so it would be y equals 3. But this was this way because it doesn't touch the y-axis. So the x is always -6. Okay. This is the standard form of a circle. H and K would be the center. So we replace the H with a 4. And then -2 goes in the K. And so we have x minus 4 squared plus y minus a -2, which means +2 squared equals the radius squared. Well, 6 squared is 36. And that is the equation. Now it says write it in general form, which means we need to multiply these things out and rearrange the terms so they're all equal to 0. Now, some of you kind of forget how to square things. They call this x squared and 16, but no. It's x minus 4 times x minus 4. So we get x squared. We get minus 4x and minus 4x. That's minus 8x plus 16. And similarly, we would get y squared plus 2y, and plus 2y is plus 4y. 2 times 2 is 4, equal 36. And now I have to write it in this form, so I'm going to have an x squared plus a y squared. So I've taken care of that one and that one. Then how many x's do I have? Minus 8 x's. How many y's do I have? I have 4 y's. And then what's the constant? Well, see, we got 16 and 4. That's 20. But I got to subtract 36 from both sides to get it over to make it 0. So I got 20 minus 36, which is -16, equals 0. And now it's in the general form. Now, to know how to do 27, we kind of do this backwards. Okay, so this was an x minus 4. That 4 caused this to be an 8 and a 16, but the 16 got lost in this. So we don't see that, but we do see the minus 8. That's telling us that this would have been originally x minus 4. And that plus 4y is telling us it was a y plus 2. Okay? That's kind of the hint. So now we come down here and we've got x squared plus 4x. So that means that it was x plus 2 squared. And we have y squared minus y, which means it had to have been y minus 1/2 squared. Half of minus 1 is a half. Half of 4 is 2. Half of negative 8 is 4. Half of 4 is 2. All right. And that's supposed to equal the radius squared. Well, now let's do a little bit, multiply these out like we did up here. So this would have been x plus 2 times x plus 2. That creates x squared plus 4x plus 4. Multiplying this out, I get y squared minus a half of y, and minus a half of y, that's minus 1y, plus 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4, and that's equal to the radius squared. Now, x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus y, all of that equals 10. So we have 10 for those four, plus 4 plus 1/4 is r squared. So that's 14 1/4 is r squared. So now I can finish writing the equation. Replace this with 14 1/4. And now I've written this general form of the equation of the circle in standard form. I know that the center, see this says move it 2 to the left and up 1/2. So the center's at -2, 1/2. It's the opposite of what's in there. The negative of h and the negative of k. It's the opposite of that, and opposite of that is the center. And the radius is, this is the radius squared, so this is the square root. And oh, by the way, this is supposed to say 27 here for both of these. Square root of 14 1/4, which is approximately, see, the square root of 9 is 3, the square root of 16 is 4. This is closer to 16 than to 9, so it's about I'm going to estimate 7. I'm not even going to pull out the calculator to get that. I'm just going to do that. Now it says graph it, and make sure I show units. So I'm going to go, I'll just put an axis right here, an axis right here, and if it's a 3.7, I should be able to get this on here reasonably well. I'm going to go to -2, 1 is 1, -2, and I'm going to call that -2 in the x. And I got to go up 1/2, which is right there, so I better put the -2 down here. And I'll put 1 here, and 1/2 would be right there. Radius of 3.7. 1, 2, 3.7. 1, 2, 3.7. 1, 2, 3.7. 1, 2, 3.7. Now, how well can I draw a circle? Okay. And I'm proving that I can't draw it really well, but close. So I have units on here. 1, and I could put more on there if I wanted to do that. I've got -2, this is +2, and this is not quite the 2. And this is the x-axis and y-axis. I've labeled things. I've shown where the axes are. And I've drawn my circle. And that's the test.